Michelle with 2 L's, and I am one half of Forcify Entertainment. Today I'm here to give you my final review. We have made it to the end of this catastrophically bad show, which has come to be known as Leslie Headland. Leslie Headland, the former personal assistant of Harvey Weinstein, the Acolyte. That is what the show is. You guys know how I felt as we have gone throughout this entire season. I can say there's not been a single episode that I've enjoyed. In fact, there's not a single episode that I would consider good. I would say that this episode was probably the most interesting. But even at that, my gosh. We will get into it. Before we get started, if you have not yet subscribed to Forcify Entertainment and you enjoy movie reactions, you enjoy movie reviews, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Also, smash the thumbs up. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the Acolyte episode 8. So they're still stuck. Okay, so basically this story is just wrapping up the lack of story that we've had for the previous 7 episodes. Picking up where we left off last week, you have Osha is now basically flirting with becoming bad with Smilo Ren, and May's kind of like, you don't really know where she is, but she's, now knows what Soul did. And that's what I was going to say too. They're really stuck on this episode, which has been a continual theme from the first episode until the last episode. So there is no mistake about what Leslie Headland was wanting to do at this point. The Jedi, we are still having to pretend in Leslie Headland's world that the Jedi are the bad guys. In fact, a Senate leader comes in and speaks to Green Woman, as I will call her, Leslie Headland's wife, which, man, that was a rough form of nepotism. Those lines are pretty dang wooden. But he says to her, delusional, speaking of the Jedi, the good guys, the ones that we all aspired to be when we were kids and we were younger, and you could look up to these Jedi, these honorable people that pursue peace and justice. And this is what they say about them in this episode. There's been something said negative about them in every episode of Leslie Headland's The Acolyte. But in this final, a senator says, speaking of the Jedi, a delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable. So let's go back to that first part. The Jedi, I guess, are a delusional cult. And basically in that conversation, you very much felt this kind of coming against really religion in a way, is kind of what you felt from the senator and really from the show, coming against that faith element that was always there in Star Wars. And yes, in Star Wars, it wasn't for necessarily any particular religion. But definitely the Force was something that was higher than ourselves. And the Jedi, it was like a faith. It really was. And that you see that is kind of being attacked in the show. And they just continue to show the Jedi. Again, I'm still very confused as to why Soul feels... Actually, I'm not confused. He's a good person. So he feels bad that he stabbed the witch woman who was acting evil 16 years ago. But should he? I mean, again, when you watch the show with not bad eyes, you look at it and you're just like, well, it's unfortunate, but I can't say the Jedi did these unthinkable, unbearable things that, one of them offed himself for. It still makes no sense. I talked about that last week. So we still have that going on. And so you've got that. Then you've got Smilo Ren. And they're still really stuck on this fact of killing a Jedi without a weapon. It's like been a thing that they talk about and then they don't talk about. And then he uses a weapon. It's all very confusing. So they go back to the planet that all the witches were at. Why? They're trying to find this convergence in the Force. Because let's get to... I've said on the best information of the show. So what is this mystery all leading up to? The mystery of this show, are you ready for it? is that the twins that no one cares about, Osha and May, Osha and Hippa, they are not actually twins. They are one person. I don't even really know what that means. Can't even really explain that to you further. There wasn't much explanation in the show as to what the heck that meant. But yeah, that is the mystery. The two are actually one. That was so I don't know what the power of many was all about, the chant, because apparently they're just one person. So you got that. And then you do have, again, I will say, this episode, which sucks. I mean, I can't say it doesn't. It does. I'm not even to the full things that annoyed me yet in this episode. At least things are happening in this episode, but like that are furthering the plot. I don't know. At least it was somewhat interesting. And I will say that that Smilo, Ren, and Soul, the one character we've come to care about on some level. I mean, you know. So we get a fight between them, and I was thinking as this fight was going on, I was thinking, you know what? This fight's not that bad. It's actually decent. But wait, there's more. But then we get this. This is a real thing that happened in a Star Wars show. Are you ready? Yes. They are floating. Mary Poppins style, mixed with I don't know, that hit Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon movie. I really don't know what we just witnessed. I mean, they're just floating. They're just floating in the air. It just happens that way in this show. Yeah, that was a moment. That was definitely a moment that happened. So even this this lightsaber fight that at first started like, man, you know, it wasn't bad. It was actually decent. Then you get stuff like that. And then you get, I can't even show the full thing, but you get like the ridiculous karate that they've been trying to make a thing. And in the words of Mean Girls, stop trying to make fetch happen. Karate, it like this type of karate, the Matrix style karate. Let's just leave it in the Matrix. Let's leave it in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Let's just leave it over there. It doesn't really fit Star Wars. So you've got this showdown with Smilo, Ren, and Soul, and Soul beats him. Soul beats this guy, and so he's dead to rights. Of course, Soul, being the person he isn't going to kill him. But then enters Osha, the girl that was supposed to be so pure of heart, and just like that, she's now evil, because that happens in the show. Throughout this episode, you're supposed at times to feel like Smilo Ren's not that bad, or May's not that bad, but all of a sudden, Osha, who's been good throughout the entire season, on the drop of a dime, is evil. And again, it's just like, that doesn't really work. People's motivations matter. Like, people don't just change on the drop of a dime. You don't go from being a great person to an evil person in one day. But you do on Leslie Headland's The Acolyte, because May will literally force choke to death, Vader style, a soul. And this master Jedi can't get out of the forced chokehold of the Jedi Academy dropout. And that didn't make any sense to me. I know, I guess they were, hindering her power, God forbid. But yeah, so that happens. So literally, again, the girl that's supposed to be the good character chokes out and kills the one character anyone cared anything about on this show. And Soul died. And you know what? Why didn't I expect that out of Leslie Headland's show? So Soul dies. The once good girl, who's now evil, kills him. And then her and May flee. They're trying to get away from the Jedi. Green Woman has brought people to hunt, to help, or I don't know what she's doing, honestly. Don't really care. And so they're able to get away, but May and Osha, so Osha decides, again, she's evil now. She's going to go with Smilo Ren and train and become even more evil. We also learned that Smilo Ren, big spoiler alert, was Green Woman's Padawan. And I guess something bad happened because she's been iffy this entire show. She seems like a really terrible person, which somehow feels fitting. But yeah, so they're trying to escape from the Jedi, from Green Woman, his former master or teacher, and somehow Smilo Ren is able to wipe May, bad May, who we started the show with, wipe her memory, and she's now like good. Literally, by the end of it, like you're confused. You're like, so May's good and Osha's bad. All in a day's work, man. On this show, that's how fast people's motivations and character can switch it like that in a day. Because we've got elementary school level writing on this television show. So that's what happens, and basically that's the last shot. Eventually, that we get, May goes back with the Jedi. They totally wipe her memory. She has hardly any memory. So I guess she's not punished because she has no memory of anything she's done, even though she's murdered, other Jedis as well. And then you've got the last shot of Osha, who's now going to be trained with Smilo Ren, who very much looks like he needs another bath. He's looking a little extra stinky, a little extra smelly in this episode. And you get that shot. But then, spoiler, not spoiler, but how does the show end? Of course, the Jedi are going to be even more scummy. That's how the show's going to end. Yes, Green Woman standing before the Senate takes all the blame of what happened recently and 16 years ago. And she blames Soul. She, I don't know why she wouldn't just tell on no. She doesn't want to tell on all three of them because she wants to make it look like, oh, it's just this one Jedi who's bad. But she picks someone who's supposed to be a friend, who she's supposed to think is this really great person, and this dumb woman. I say dumb because I'm just trying to spare any other words. This not good person literally blames Soul for everything that happened. And going back, we've already established, what did Soul do wrong? Soul did nothing wrong, change my mind t-shirt. I mean, but yet he takes all the blame. That is how this show ends, with Soul dead. And yeah, the good girl's now bad. The bad girl's now, we're not sure. She just lost her memory. Who knows? She might decide to be bad again soon. We never know. And the final shot of the show, just to cheapen things even more, the final shot of the show, they have the audacity, after writing this crappy show that totally craps on everything that George Lucas did and totally tries to make the Jedi out to be the villains. And what is the final shot of the show? They have the audacity for Green Woman, who's a terrible person, to walk in, and we see the back of Yoda's head. And that is how the show ends. Master, I need to tell you something. Cut to black. The show is over. There might be an end credit. So if there's an end credit, let me know. I didn't care enough to watch through the credits to know if there's an end credit. But it shows that. Guys, this show has been terrible. That's all I can say about this show, guys. It's just been week after week. This show has not failed to be absolutely terrible and beyond terrible. But then other times, other times, again, it's just very clear now. I have now watched all the episodes. I can say definitively that the person writing this show wanted the Jedi to be the bad guys. And you know what? Why am I surprised that the former personal assistant of one Harvey Weinstein that's what she wanted to write. I'd say it's pretty fitting. I reject the show. This show's ridiculous. Pretty much this is the type show, and we may think back and laugh. Remember when they put out that show, The Acolyte? Remember how terrible that show was? Yeah, and that might be the only way people talk about this show, and or if not that, then like we'll just forget it ever happened. Kind of like we've done with the last several Star Wars shows that they've done. But final thing I want to show you guys, this. I have not actually read the Darth Plaegus novel. I hear good things. People are saying this is Plaegus. You guys let me know who you think this is. You see this person creeping in the back on the planet where the witches were. Yeah, we get see the ship's taking off there. And then we get this creepy hands, and we get that creepy face. You guys can let me know if you think that's Darth Plaegus. I'm not really sure again. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The show's so bad. Who cares? But yeah, that's been it, man. This has been a journey and a half. And I want to thank so many of you for coming here week after week to talk about The Acolyte with me. You guys have been awesome throughout this entire experience. What do I rate this show? On a level of five hoots, the five being the max level of enjoyment of a show. It is at a 0 or a negative, okay? That is where the show is. This show has not brought me any enjoyment outside of making fun of it. That's where the show is for me. The Acolyte is one of the worst written shows I have ever sat down and actually watched. That is genuinely my opinion of The Acolyte. And we're finished with it, guys. I'm finished with this show. No more Acolyte. But what do you guys think of this show? What have you thought of the show? What did you think of the finale? Share your thoughts below. And if you have not yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Also, give this video a thumbs up. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, remember to be a force of light. All right. Bye, guys.